I'm Handy Bee with Handy Bee Creations, and today we're going to do a little bit of tie-dyeing. But first, so we're going to do a reverse tie-dye and then add colors. I tend to mess up my clothes real easily because I'm always doing something with art. Anyway, it's kind of fun to take an old shirt, t-shirt, sweatshirt, whatever, anything that's just normally ready for the trash, ready to cut up and be a rag, and try to transform it. Now, for the most part, this sweatshirt is still in pretty good shape, except for, you know, there's stains. It's a little, you know, it's definitely worn out. We're gonna see what we can do to fix all this. So stick around and watch me transform this sweatshirt. You're going to want to have straight bleach, and I just put some bleach in a container, a glass jar. Of course, my favorite, rubbing alcohol. A paintbrush from the hardware store. You don't want to use a good paintbrush. Rubber bands or kite string. A pair of scissors. Some old paint that I had, and I'll be mixing up like a darker purple. I'm going to start by So the first thing I'm going to do, well, I'm going to start with the hood. And I'm going to fold the hood in half. Some rubber bands. Do a little twisting. When you twist it, you're going to need to hold the other end. Start with a tight twist. Get your rubber band around. Before you get started, make sure you put rubber gloves on. Dab a little bit of bleach. So what you're going to do is leave this on just until you see it start to turning. It's already working. And in this case, the longer you leave it on, the whiter it's going to become. Or, you know, you can just decide to stop the process. And the way to do that is when you see the color that you like, then you're going to rinse it off in cold water. As you can see, it's starting to turn red, which is kind of cool. So some of it's going to get real white and some of it's going to stay red, and then we're going to put color back in as well. So it just depends on what you're going for. One thing I love about tie-dye, playing around with different colors and things like that, is you never know what you're going to get. And it's just exciting and fun. So, like I said, you know, when you're satisfied with the color, then you're going to want to rinse it out. Okay, so I just went and rinsed it. As you can see, I did get some bleach drops on the shirt, but that's okay because we're still going to work the sleeve. Now, as far as the design, honestly, I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I think I'm just gonna tie-dye over it and see what comes out. I'm gonna do the same thing with the sleeve, each sleeve now. Take the seams, flatten out the arms so that you have the inseam flat as if you're going to iron it. And then roll. I put the rubber bands in about 4 different places on the sleeve. Before you apply the bleach, make sure you wring out the water on the brush. When you twist, it causes whatever you're putting on it to absorb further into the fabric. Also, you want to be aware that applying straight bleach gets hot. So even in this case, this is the hood. It was rinsed out, the bleach, and sometimes what'll happen is it'll continue to lighten as it sits. So I still like the purple, but I'm going to do a tie-dye instead of having it a solid color. It's going to have a variety of different levels of colors. It's going to have purple, as you can see it's going to have red, the lighter colors. It's just going to be really pretty once it's finished. Okay, I just rinsed that out. When you take it out to rinse it, I usually rinse it outside with the hose, garden hose. You're going to twist the water out so that you get most of the bleach off of the garment. So we've got the hood and the sleeves, or one sleeve. Now we're going to do the other side, the other sleeve. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. The same way I twisted the left side, I started at the shoulder and I rolled in. So now I'm doing the left side. So I'm going to roll and twist. The tighter the twist, the better. Takes a little bit of work to do this, guys, but it's worth it because it's lots of fun. This is the other sleeve. Extra bleach. Gloves. Also, you want to rinse out your gloves too. Twist, create that bleach to absorb all the way through. Don't be surprised if your rubber bands break. You might only get one use out of them. Kind of does tend to weaken the rubber bands. You can usually get through one process. So the thing that you want to think about is when you're doing the sleeves, you kind of want a little bit of consistency. It looks like this one has, I have a rubber band, an extra rubber band, so we can add some rubber bands to the other side because we're going to add the color back in. So some areas are going to be lighter, some areas are going to be red, some are going to have more purple, but the idea is just to kind of make it look somewhat similar so that there is a little bit of art and consistency to it. This side's a little lighter. Add some more bleach to that. To this side. Maybe a little bit more up here. Now I'm going to go rinse this out. I'm back and I got that rinsed out. Now we're going to want to work on the middle section. We want to keep our patterns consistent, and so what we're doing is we're rolling the garments in a lengthwise position. So now we're going to twist. Actually, I'm going to twist because usually it's the outside that gets most of the, when you twist it, the outside, whatever's on the inside gets less color than the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and twist the pattern, keeping the pattern on the inside, and see what we get. And I'm just going to do like this. And this might have to be done a couple of times. I might have to do it again. Give it a good twist. I am using my legs here. I'm using my whole body for this project. Be careful when you're putting it on the big roll, because when you're putting the rubber bands on like this, sometimes they break and they snap and they hurt. So just be careful. Well, the idea is to kind of help keep the rubber bands, kind of help keep the twist in shape, but also it's just for design. And if it's easier to use kite string or some kind of string for you, then go ahead and do that. This is the last of the bleach process. be prepared to feel a little bit of heat when you're using this. Be very careful with your clothes. Don't wear anything that you don't want ruined. Okay? Because it will get ruined if bleach gets on it, for sure. Up here, there's no rubber bands. You're going to have to pretend like there is. Once it gets absorbed with the bleach, it becomes softer, and then you can go ahead and add a rubber band. Give it a good twist. Be prepared for a workout, guys. I'm definitely out of breath here. You didn't know you were going to get a workout at the same time doing my art. Now, because it's a little thicker, I would just let it sit a little bit longer to make sure it's nice and absorbed. Normally, I don't like to put bleach on the ends as much because they're already kind of ragged and bleach eats away at the material, at the fabric. So you want to avoid using a lot of bleach on your ends of your garments. If you leave straight bleach on, it will just eat right through your garment. So it's just a good idea just to leave it on for a short time and then rinse it out. And each time I go to rinse, you know, it doesn't hurt to rinse the whole thing. Okay. Just add a little bit more bleach. Whew. I left the brush in there. Now, as you can see, the bleach is eating away at the brush because I left the brush in there. And the bleach is starting to foam. So, we're working with chemicals here, guys. So, be very careful. Even though it's just bleach, still, it does a lot of damage when it's used straight. Just keep that in mind. Okay, I'll go ahead and rinse this out. Okay, I'm back. It's rinsed out. Now what I'm going to do is just set this out in the sun. Allow it to dry a little bit before I go on to the next step. So stay tuned. My sweatshirt has been hanging out to dry in the sun for a good day, actually. And I just want you to see how it looks. It bleached out pretty good. I got a light pinkish color, which is going to be cool because that is going to translate into the tie-dye as well. So even though I put color back in, when I remove the rubber bands, I'm going to see this light pink color, and it's just going to add some really nice variation. So I'm excited to see what this, I really look forward to putting color back into this. So I've picked out some purple, which I already showed you, and I was just going to add red and blue together and mix my own purple color. This is going to be fun. Okay, just start putting the paint on. So right now I'm just putting the paint on. I haven't added alcohol yet. The alcohol is going to help absorb the color. When the paint gets towards the end of the bottle, it's hard to get out, so sometimes you have to add water to it, or you can just add some alcohol in there, whatever. Just the old paint that I don't really care about, you know, paint that you don't need. What I'm going to do is just add some blue. Ooh, that's a pretty blue too. It's like this is a, oh, this is purple. Okay, I thought it was blue. Okay, I'm just going to add purple then, because it's purple. So I'm just going to add this in. A little bit of red and see what happens. Sure, why not? Just make it a little bit more. I have it, might as well use it up. I was thinking it might be cool to add another color, like maybe pink, since I like pink. If you're using two colors and you want it to kind of match throughout, you can just add that color in and other places. Could be a little bit messy for sure. Okay, I got some blue, and I'm mixing the blue and the red. Now I'm going to add the alcohol to get that color mixed in. And with this big sweatshirt, I'm going to need probably a lot of alcohol. Get those colors absorbed in there. Spread it all around. Be deliberate when you pour the alcohol on, you know, get it, pour it directly into the fabric. Let that color just work itself in. It's going to have to go, it's going to have to penetrate all the way into the inside, you know, because it's a little bit of work, this tie-dye, but it's fun. And it's fun to be able to make your own clothes. This sweatshirt is just absorbing this alcohol like crazy because it's so big and thick. This is absorbing so much alcohol that nothing is even wringing out when I wring it. So don't be surprised by that. It's just absorbing right into the fabric. I'm just going to go ahead and let this dry in the sun, and then I'll decide by the color if I want to add more color or if I want to remove the rubber band. But of course I'm going to be checking it by removing a little bit of the rubber band to see what I've got. So stay tuned, shall return. Okay, the moment of truth. I'm going to be revealing what we have here with our sweatshirt. Now, I've left it out in the sun to dry, and it is very stiff. But the way to remove the stiffness is to add more alcohol to it. Then, of course, you'll want to go through the setting of the dye process, which is, I can leave a link in the video description box for that, as far as the next step after you've tie-dyed your garment, what you're going to want to do for setting the dye. That is provided that you are satisfied. A lot of these rubber bands are breaking because they've been immersed in bleach, and so they're pretty much done. Here's the way the back turned out. So what's interesting about this, the way I did it, was that you do end up with one side having a lot more texture. And this is actually what I really enjoy. I like the way that it looks with the texture. So I know it's a lot of work. I know that getting this texture is a lot of work. But now, if you want this on the other side, you actually have to, then I would have to roll it the other way and do the same thing. Otherwise, the other thing that you could do is create a different pattern on the opposing side. See what the front side of it looks like. Okay, so this was all on the inside. Okay. So now what would I do if I wanted to change this up a little bit? I would take some rubber bands and just maybe grab a handful, wrap it around like this, and add some color. So what happened was when we bleached it out, we got a little bit of a pink color. So we could add some pink to change up this side. But anyway, once you're satisfied, set your dye and then go ahead and wash it, but wash it in cold water. Always wash all your garments in cold water, especially the colored. Okay, this is the final outcome of the tie-dye sweatshirt that I did. I just want to show you. I did soak it in the vinegar and water solution, and that was so that the dye would be set. And then I allowed it to dry in the sun fully, and then I washed it in cold water on a mild setting. And I just want to show you that it did not come out stiff. I wanted to show you the design and how I ended up mixing red. I mixed red and blue, and it gave me this kind of lavender color. And then the pink colors come from the bleach, the previous bleach treatment. And I also added back in deep purple. If I were to want to get the other side, this side, to look like this side, I would have to reverse the process of the way that I rolled it and tie-dye the other side using the same method but in a reverse. But I kind of like the way it came out, and so hopefully this will open up some ideas for you guys in terms of using acrylic paint and the technique that I used for tie-dyeing this. So let me know how you like the tutorial. Please subscribe if you want to leave comments or if you have questions for me, because I'm not able to respond otherwise. So just want to make sure you see this. It is not stiff. And just so you can see the colors, the pattern, and all of that. So thank you so much for watching. This is Handy B with Handy B Creations. Have a creative day.